Good day, everybody. We're going to plant some sunflowers. Sunflowers are very easy to grow, very fun to grow, especially if you got children. It'll be a great thing to let them grow. Again, they're very easy. They germinate very easy. So when you plant sunflowers, you just want to put them in a spot where they're going to get plenty of sun because they love sun. You want to spread them about a foot apart. You can plant them closer, but they will try to compete with each other for sunlight. So you will have some that's going to get kind of short and not get very big heads on them. But they still will do fine if you plant them closer than a foot apart. It's good to plant them in rows, but if you're going to plant them around your home, like in a raised bed, or right here, I got them a little location right here around my septic tank that I like to plant flowers, just to make the area look better. You can get away with just planting them about a foot apart, but they get very big. They do need a lot of water, especially early on when they first start to germinate. After they get mature, they don't really need much, involvement other than just plenty of sun, and they're gonna get that if you plant them in the right location. So, but you want to have a good tilled up ground. Right here, I tilled up my soil, and I put down some compost. So you want to put them in some soft soil, moist soil, so they'll germinate, but they should germinate very quickly. So I'm going to lay some seeds out and water them in, and I'll show you how I do that. Now I'm going to grow the Mammoth sunflowers. It gets very big, and the seeds are edible. Just the sunflowers you see in the store is basically a Mammoth sunflower seed. So okay, as you see, I got my seeds right there in the surface of the ground, and I got them a foot apart, and I also have them spaced within the row, or within the circle, a foot apart. And as I come in, I just space them, keep them about a foot apart. You generally get a pretty high germination rate on these, especially if you got some good fresh seeds. So I'm just gonna go around in this little circle, put one around this little tight area here. But and then I'm just going to always wait to cover my seeds up so I know where everything is at. Then just gonna push it down in the ground about an inch, and it's covered up with soil. Very simple. And once they get off to a good start, then they don't need too much care unless you go a long period of time without any rain or anything like that. And they don't need any fertilizer or anything, especially if you got some good compost you're putting them in. So we'll be back. We'll watch them come up, and I'll just periodically show you how they're coming up, and then I'll show you how they look when they get finished. And also, you can, the best thing about it is you can roast them and eat them at the end. So it's win-win. All right, it's about a month later, and they're coming in very nicely. A few of the small ones you see up front were some that I replanted, just had a few extra seeds left and decided to do a few fill-ins on a few that didn't come up originally. So, but a lot of the bigger ones you see in the back are some of the original ones I planted. But they're coming in pretty nice, and I'll just periodically give you a few updates as they continue to grow. All right, here it is, June 25th. So a few weeks later, and they've gotten very tall. They're over 6 foot tall. Most of them are, and they're growing on schedule. They're getting ready they'll be putting the flower out pretty soon. So I just wanted to give you a quick update on them. Okay, here it is, the first part of July, and as you can see, sunflowers are blooming, and once they bloom, that bloom will last a good week, and then they'll start kind of do like this one has done. It'll start forming the seeds, and in about another few days that one will be ready to harvest the seeds. But what'll happen is that once the seeds reach full maturity, that sunflowers start leaning over, and you can tell that it's ready to clip the head off and start harvest the seeds. So some of them are still blooming sporadically. One thing about the Mammoth sunflowers, they sometimes won't bloom all at one time. They'll just kind of bloom sporadically. So that's what's going on with them now. So the sunflowers are at least 8 feet tall. That one right back there look like it may end up being 9 feet tall, 9 or 10 maybe, because it's just now starting to form the head. So they can get very tall. So we'll come back in a little bit for one little update on them. Okay, I was back about a few days later with the sunflowers. As you can see, there some of them are still forming heads, new sunflowers. Still just not opening up. That one right there is at least 10 feet tall. And this one right here is gonna even be taller. And it's still growing and hasn't put a head out yet. So, but anyway, I have one that I think is ready to be harvested. This one, so you can tell because the petals have all fallen off, and these little tips will start getting black. These right here are still gold, but I learned not to let them sit on there too long. You want them to be a little bit of moisture. I have let them sit there and try to dry out too long out in the outside, so you don't want to make that mistake. So and then another thing you can do is the back of it will start getting a little yellow. It's still a little bit green though, but I can tell by the formation of the seeds it's time to harvest it. But generally they'll get real yellow in the back. They'll go from a bright green to a kind of like a yellow color, and most time they'll droop over, kind of like this one is doing. And this one right here will be ready to harvest soon. But those seeds are still developed, and these little flowers right here are still real green and yellow. They'll start getting black and kind of start dry out a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this one off. We're just gonna cut it about right the back of the head. And one thing I've noticed is the stem is real green. Sometimes they'll form another small sunflower. So I don't pull the stalk up too fast. So here we have it, and you can see the seeds back there. You know, be just like I said, after we let it dry out inside for a little while, then you should be able to just shuck them out like you shuck corn, or dry corn off a cob. And that's why I just cut it, the stem. But so that's simple as that. Okay, I just harvested these heads here, and what I do, the other head I gave to a friend, didn't want to come. But what I do is I rinse them off real good, make sure there's no bugs on them before I bring them inside. As you can see, a few maybe no bugs. So what you want to do is just get a garden hose, and you want to lightly rinse them. And I'm gonna pick these up. I can't do it with both hands. I mean, I can't hold the camera and do it with both hands. But you just want to pick it up and turn it upside down. So I'm gonna rinse it through, and just lightly get all the bugs out of it. But if you're not ready to harvest them right away, you can rinse them off, get all the bugs off of them, and then just put them upside down and let them drain. And then as long as they stay cold in the refrigerator, they'll sit in there for quite a while until you get ready to harvest them. So, that's what I do, and then I'll show you how to shuck them. It's very simple. Just shuck the seeds out like you're shucking corn out of a cob. Okay, all those sunflowers just for all those seeds for one sunflower. So what I'm gonna do is soak these in salt water, and then let them soak overnight, and then tomorrow I'll drain them and roast them. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you grow some sunflowers, and please subscribe. Thanks.